We've got another interview here on 1700 Home. You're here with your hosts, Vic and Nick, and it is our absolute pleasure to announce our next guest for this week.
She is known for her dark pop sound, and she is now here to chat with us about her forthcoming EP, I Think About It Way Too Much. Please make welcome Evangeline. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me so much. It's a very nice social event to be talking to you guys right now. Reason to put mascara on. So that sums up how I've been.
Yeah, and as we just mentioned earlier, we were chatting about earlier before we started the interview, you are from Melbourne and we've been in lockdown for so long now. Has this been quite a creative time for you, or are you just kind of relaxing, doing some activities, you know, the knitting, the painting, or is it your music time?
It definitely comes in waves, for sure. Like the first lockdown, I was very self-care mode and we could go outside. So I was going on like hikes by myself and like painting things. Then by the time it got to lockdown number 2, I was it's kind of gone completely mixed. Some days you feel so creative and it's really good because you kind of push to use this new technology. I can't travel to the studios that I want to work like with people I want to work with because it's overseas. And now though it makes us do Zoom calls and Zoom sessions, which is so interesting and comfortable and weirdly normal and fun. I mean, of course, so much better to be in the room with the people, but it's also a different exercise and kind of keeps you going and makes me work, I guess, a bit more often with them, whereas usually I'd be not so much working with them over.
Absolutely, and it's so interesting to kind of look at the influence of technology, especially in the Aussie music scene at the moment, kind of how artists are connecting to fans around the nation and using live streams or releasing their content online. Like, it's just really interesting to kind of notice how influential technology has become. And I think it's going to remain that way for a few more months as we head into even 2021. Before we chat about your new EP, Evangeline, you recently released the track Euphoria in July. Could you tell us a little bit about how this went, how the release was, and how the reception was for the track?
It was really good. It was such an interesting time to be releasing music because I've had this build up to release all these songs and this project for so long. And then for this year, the way, you know, when things came out and when things were planning, like were meant to be coming out, it sort of felt weird to be promoting music. It was a really weird time because, you know, there's a lot going on in the world. So sometimes you'd be like, listen to my song, but then also I understand if you don't right now, you know, like there's a lot going on. I get it. There's like no pressure. But I do like that, you know, people have been really lovely and have connected with it. And I always find it so interesting when people do reach out via like Instagram and they talk to me about what they connected with it and what they think it means. And that's the beauty of music. It kind of can go from different meanings from one person to the other, but it's kind of connects us all.
Yeah, and speaking of the meaning of the song to other people, what actually inspired this track for yourself?
This song is really about duality. A lot of the songs on this EP, the lyrics are kind of very specific and yet can be taken in such a vague way, I guess, because it can really connect from like a person being bad for you and, you know, parties being good and being fun and euphoric, and then also being bad for you. And, you know, having a song that has like such a pretty like melody and really light and airy, and then some of the lyrics in it being quite intense and dark. So it's all about things being good but bad and just the balance of that.
Yeah, it's really interesting and it's such a stellar track. So, first of all, congratulations on the track release. Very exciting. If we shift now to the EP, so I think about it way too much. It's very soon to be released. September 16th is the release date, which is super exciting. Can you give us a little bit of insight into, this EP as a whole and what audiences can expect from it? And I guess the general overall feeling from the EP as well.
I feel kind of weird saying it's a concept EP because that sounds so like, get over yourself. But, I wrote it in a way that I wanted it to feel like a journey of a weekend. Like I swear I'll never write a song with the word party in it ever again. I've overdone it. It's done. Throughout this EP, that's a definite theme. So it's really a journey where you're enjoying a night and then you're kind of battling with different feelings that come up in a night. And I have such a weird, for this EP, I wrote it off of weekends that were happening a lot and the same recurring feelings. It was like not a good time. It was like these memories. So each song is a specific memory from a weekend, but then put together. I like the idea of people listening to it and feeling like they're in that weekend. And they enjoy euphoria and then bad party starts to happen and they're like this person that's come as a +1 and then neighborhood happens and it's kind of, that weird journey of a weekend.
Yeah, and it sounds like such a good idea as well. And I'm sure when we listen to it, we'll understand even more exactly what you're saying, from euphoria to those other events you were discussing in the album, or the EP, sorry, I should say. But when you say I think about it too much, are these the events you were just referring to? Is that what you're thinking too much about? Or is it even broader concept other than that?
It's actually a lyric from I Wish I Was Anybody Else. And which is the last track of the EP, I should explain. And that song is really a summary of all of the memories that have happened. And so it was quite specific to why I wrote this EP is I think about it way too much, these memories. I use writing as a way of processing things and definitely, do think about it way too much, but it's also in a vague sense. I'm an overthinker. Definitely an overthinker here.
No, I think it's really interesting, Evangeline. I think we've spoken to a few artists and about where they get the inspiration from for the EPs, their albums, their songs. And a lot of the time it does kind of come through that personal experience and writing about your feelings, your emotions, but also kind of that sense of nostalgia as well and how, past experience relate. So I think it's a really unique and exciting pathway. So very excited for this EP. If you look back on your musical journey as a whole, how do you think, or do you think that your music has evolved and changed? Do you think it's kind of at a position today that you might have not thought it would get to, or do you think it stayed pretty true to what you've wanted it to be?
It has evolved. It has evolved. I feel like musically I've lived, in real life, I feel like I've lived so many lives and I'm so grateful for that feeling. But even musically in my career, I know that I've put out music before, but this feels like I'm starting fresh. And maybe because it was such a gap between my releases. But I'm self-managed, I'm independent at the moment. I've just got such a small team, and when I say team, it's me and my amazing publicist Bianca and the friends around me. So it has evolved, and I hate saying this because every musician says it and they're like, it's my most authentic record, but it sort of is. in the sense that I feel like I'm understanding who I am a lot better and how I want to write and what genre I feel I sit in, and sonically what I try and get across, and lyrically what I try and get across. And even now, this record was written with friends. It wasn't me being put in a studio session with a producer who was amazing, and love and respect all the producers I've worked with, but this EP is quite legitimately, I've got a very close relationship with everyone who touched it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to listen to it, honestly, the way you're describing how the process was creating it and also the whole idea behind it just sounds absolutely incredible. So we're very, very excited for that. Is there a particular message or anything you want your listeners and the viewers here to kind of know before they go and listen to the EP?
I didn't really write it with a message, but now that I'm starting to explain what the music is about, I'm starting to realize there's definitely a message there. And I guess it's, you're not alone, really. You write these songs feeling this way, and then I slowly start putting them out, and people are like, oh yeah, I hate parties. I hate that, like, and this is not an anti-party anthem by any means, but it's really funny that, you're really not alone in feeling any of the emotions and that this EP goes from. And I guess it's really interesting to take note of like what songs you do connect with, because the way I've written the songs are quite honest, but I'm a very self-aware human being. So it's really funny that each song is kind of flawed in some way. Whether it's, oh, this song has a really low self-esteem to it, or this song is very she's contradicting herself a lot, or this is a little, I feel really sad and desperate in this song. Oh, this is a little bit spiteful in the lyrics. And so I guess, I mean, it's interesting if you can find a song that you connect with to maybe try and think about why you connect with it.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think even you said before, the message of you're not alone, it's so relevant to the current times that we're in, where a lot of us have to be isolating at home, and kind of having that message, I think is going to be really reassuring and really powerful. So I really do love that. And speaking of the current times, how obviously we know the Australian music scene has been quite heavily impacted. Festivals, events, simple music gigs, unfortunately haven't been able to go ahead this year. Putting this aside, what else is on the horizon for you alongside this EP? Are there goals that you've had in mind for whether it be a few years, few months, few weeks now that you really would love to pursue and see come to fruition?
I mean, I would really love to tour again one day, like really play some shows. I haven't played shows in so long, and I mean, I'm so fine with it, obviously, given the state, but I also want to just keep writing. I really just enjoy it, and it feels so good to be putting out a project that I am proud of and have really love, and so I just want to kind of keep doing this. It's a very enjoyable, therapeutic thing.
Well, obviously the way you're describing and everything you've said about your music, you can see how passionate you are, and that really does translate into your work. I mean, even listening to your track Euphoria before and some of your older ones, it was just a really great listening experience. And honestly, as I said earlier, I'm sure we're so excited to listen to the rest of the EP. If you had 3 words to describe the EP, what would you say it is?
First of all, thank you so much. I was just like, that's so lovely. Thank you. 3 words. Traumatic. Simplified. Trauma. There we go. They can connect. And happy ending. That's kind of not 3 words. I didn't answer that at all correctly.
No, I think it's an interesting question. I love the question because it's hard when you've done this huge body of work. How do you bring it down to 3 words? So I think we'll definitely be listening out for those throughout the EP, but I'm more than sure that we're going to be hearing a huge array of emotions and feelings. And yeah, as Vic said, and we've said continuously, we are extremely excited for the release. Before we let you go, Evangeline, can you please take the time to let us know where all of our audiences can find your music, your social platforms, your music platforms? Yeah, take the time now to plug them all.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure I'm Evangeline Music on Instagram, on Twitter, Evangeline Music Oz. Damn, this may need to be edited. Evangeline Music, that should be where to find me, I would hope. Ooh. I'm so bad at plugging myself, I'm so sorry.
No, that's more than okay. I'm sure even if you start typing in Evangeline Music and it's Evangeline Music Oz, it will probably come up in the suggestions. So we're all good there.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. That was a blunder. I really wish I had the same name throughout all of my social medias, but someone else is Evangeline and they're making my life hard. Oh, but anyway, sorry. Evangeline Oz.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And of course, as we've said, all the best for the release of the EP. We'll definitely be promoting it on our socials as well. We'll be talking about it, showing everyone this wonderful interview so they can get a bit of an idea of everything we've discussed and, of course, what to take from it. And yeah, we wish you all the best.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.